So let's start with what some are calling a bromance, the hand-holding and the hugs between Putin, Kim Jong-un and Modi. What's your reading of these optics? Are they genuinely close relationships, or is Putin primarily sending a strategic message to the US?
Well, in certain cases, it's both. I mean, we do know, or at least we believe, that there is a good relationship between President Xi and President Putin. But overall, you'd have to say these important, we can call it optics, but optics are important. You can say that optics is part of information warfare. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're sending a message that, they are friends, they are working together, and especially this message, that the old world order that was created and really run by the United States is now over, and there's a new world order, and these are the men who are going to lead it.
Of course, I want to discuss that hot mic moment, the Russian and Chinese leaders discussing immortality and biotech breakthroughs that might extend their lives. How remarkable is this moment for two leaders who clearly want to maintain power indefinitely?
I thought it was fascinating, but this is important because both of these men are in their early 70s. And it is important, if you look especially at Putin, he intends to, it appears, to stay in power until he's about 83, technically. And if he could live and be in great shape until 150, then that might be okay with him. So I think, we can kind of laugh about it, say it's a little weird, but I do think that is probably happening. There's probably some research, and I'm sure that some of these men would like to live longer than the average person.
Fascinating. Of course, ever since the Alaska summit, Trump's patience with Putin has grown thin. I just want to play some sound from President Trump on Wednesday.
I have no message to President Putin. He knows where I stand, and he'll make a decision one way or the other. Whatever his decision is, we'll either be happy about it or unhappy. And if we're unhappy about it, you'll see things happen.
It's very vague, another very vague threat. Of course, Putin invited President Zelensky to Moscow under highly conditional terms, while simultaneously launching one of the largest drone attacks on Ukraine this year. Is this all a game to Putin? How do you interpret Putin's message, and does he have zero respect for Trump?
Well, I do think if you look at what President Trump is saying, he's said this before. He has set deadlines, numerous deadlines, as we know, and they've been broken. And basically, not a lot has happened. Now, Trump would say, yes, but I put tariffs on India, but he hasn't put them on Russia directly. Not that that would do that much at this point, but he hasn't put them on China, which is really an enabler of Russia. And I think it's important to also, Lynda, to point out what President Putin said, kind of in the same vein. He was asked, what is happening with Ukraine, et cetera. He said, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. But if it doesn't happen, he said, and this is a quote, we will have to achieve all the goals set before us by force. So what he is saying essentially is, it doesn't make any difference what's going to happen here. We don't know, but we are going to achieve our goals. And those goals are the same ones that he had when he invaded Ukraine. So to me, this does not show a lot of willingness to stop fighting and have some type of a ceasefire at all.
And just finally, Jill, Russia and China's public show of unity, coupled with their deepening economic and military ties, as some analysts calling this the axis of upheaval. How real and durable do you believe this alliance to be?
I think between Russia and China, the alliance could be durable. I mean, I think to both of them, it's important. Russia wants to sell its energy. It's been shut out of Europe, essentially. And so, building a new gas pipeline with China, as they are talking about, would be a way of selling more energy. But I do think that the danger for Russia always has been that China looks like the big brother China has a much bigger economy, and it is rapidly building up its military and its nuclear power. So I think, Russia has to be careful about this if it wants to not be overwhelmed by China.
All right, Jill Dougherty, as always, great analysis and good to have you on the program. Thanks so much.